Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It is Thursday night, and that means it is time for the ANZCAR Cup. Yes, we are back in action for the Cup here tonight. And, it's getting into the final stages of the season. We're around 23 of 36, and won't be long until we start tipping into the playoff season indeed. We are at Michigan tonight, a fantastic track that is very, very quick. One of the fast 2-mile ovals out there, and can absolutely bring us some great racing here tonight, which we are looking forward to, with a bumper field as well. I'm, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, and joining me up here in the booth, I have Mr. Matt Hunter. Matt, how you going, mate?
Going good. Looking forward to this one. As I say, I do like Michigan. I do like the 2-mile overs because there's something a little bit different. And nice big wide tracks, good racing action, plenty of room, and they've got a good high line once the tyres wear a little bit.
Absolutely. Some multi-group racing is what we love to see. Just looking quickly at the weather forecast, it's a bit of a warm 37 degrees track temperature out there. That's going to cause the tyres to scream a little bit in the latter stages. 26 degrees air temperature with a fairly brisk wind of 8 kilometers per hour to the southerly direction. We're about to start gridding up for tonight's race, though, so let's head on over to the starting grid and go through the order. And it is the championship leader and the man on a big streak at the moment, Andrew Dyson, on pole, with his nearest rival, Neil Pearson for DPR, out his outside in second. On row number 2, we've got Barry Neal and Dave Douglas lighting up the timesheets. Row number 3 sees Lachlan Urquio and Ryan Jones. Phil Otto and Daniel Hederscheid make up our row number 4. Number 5 sees Mirko Dornak back in action next to JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden. Row number 6, we've got Alexander Sheridan with Jai Schultz. On the 7th row, it's Riley Curtis with Maddie Ray. Paul Jackson lines up next to a returning Philip Worley on row number 8. Dwayne Burns, Brenton Henderson make up our 9th row. Kobe Jordan with Shane Bowen are on the 10th row tonight. Ben Henker and Tristan Koch make up row 11. Jamie Lankervis and Ruben Phelps are on row number 12. On the 13th row, it's Norman Clark and Brad Fenley making it a green row lockout. On the 14th row, it's Luke Crum and Christopher Tomlin for Inside Lane Sim Sports. And Matt Patton and Derek Jacobs make up our 15th row tonight, and the final lineup indeed. So, cars are getting ready for the warm-up here. As we said, playoffs are still to play for. If you can get yourself a victory in these last few races, you could find yourself locked in to that position. There are a few drivers that are really hoping that nobody else gets a victory under their belt, because they have got some good points behind them to get them into those playoffs. And those are the SRM crew of Ruben Phelps, Lachlan Urquio, and Matty Ray. Dave Douglas and Joshua Carroll-Walden sit right on the bubble there with Jamie Nankervis and Kobe Jordan. So there are a few spots to play for there. And if you can get some good finishes in the last few races, you could find yourself into the playoffs for the final few races this season, and possibly with a championship under your belt. So getting ready for the start of tonight's action. And as we say, Michigan is going to be a fun track, plenty of speed here, but also the fact that it is a multi-groove racetrack should give us some really good action. Of course, if you are new to the ANZCAR Cup, we do run a fixed open setup. So everybody starts on the same setup, but then the first pit stops, they can change. So they can change things like tyre pressure and the bump rebound on the suspension. So expect to see a few people coming in to do that if we get an early caution. But the pace car is in, and we're going to go green here for round 23 even of the season. I'm going to shut up. Let's enjoy these cars roar away here at Michigan. There's the fairly strong field make their way across the line for lap number 1. It's Neil Pearson jumping up into the lead. Down on the low line, a bit of a bad start for Barry Neal. It's cost him a few spots off the start, dropping 4 positions with Lachlan Mercury behind him too. Just didn't get away, possibly starting in a little bit too high of a gear there. Just cost him the opportunity to run away. Daniel Hedershine having a really good run, making up 5 positions up into third at the moment. He's got Ryan Jones right behind him. Keep an eye out for Ryan Jones. He has been wanting to get some good results recently and has been indeed getting them. So he would sorely love to get a victory next to his name in the Cup car. See Dave Douglas in the background as well, running the high line early too. So could be just keeping that car in contention, running that high line early, trying to get a little bit more speed in the car.
I was watching Daniel in practice, and he was pretty quick. I don't think he's been able to convert that into a qualifying lap time, but yeah, in the runs that I watched him in practice, he was definitely right up the top in terms of speed.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that absolutely ridiculously quick at some tracks, and still quick at other tracks, but not quite up there. But he's always up in the top 10. You know, that's the thing, Daniel. He's very, very good at that. And when he gets it all hooked together, he is very hard to beat, and that's happening at the moment as he gets a run down the inside of Neil Pearson, taking a slightly lower line at this stage of the race, and that can sometimes be a little bit beneficial to tyre preservation. As you see Pearson going for the switchback underneath, and going back up into the lead, but everybody's sort of favouring the sort of higher to midline at the moment. Nobody's really favouring the real low line because it can get a little bit tight down there and just cause the car to get a little bit unsettled. So it can be a little bit quicker down on the low line, but it's not as stable down there sometimes.
No, but we've got 3 wide racing back here as well, and around about the 7th and 8th spot. So that, so as I say, this track, it's got heaps of room, and it's really good. They can go 2 or 3 wide pretty comfortably.
Absolutely, there's been some real Dan Dare moments coming up out of the corners, people really running that high line and keeping themselves nice and close to the wall as well, and not giving an inch, and that can really get you some good time, but you have to be cautious because eventually you can find yourself making contact with the wall, and that can really cost you on a track like this. When you do lose that momentum, it can drop you back a good couple of positions. Dave Douglas is one of those drivers that's really running it to the edge of the wall. Every lap I see him going through, every lap I think he's made contact with the wall, and he has made it through each time, but definitely running it to the absolute edges of the track.
Yeah, a little bit worried about it, Dave. In practice, he was having a bit of a hard time getting off turn 4. Turn 2, sorry. He was having a bit of a hard time, and I think most of the drivers were as well. If they pushed a little bit too hard on that exit of turn 2, they were tending to spin back around.
It's a track where you can really gain a lot of time by just taking it to that limit, but eventually the odds will sort of not pay off, and it's very easy to have that moment. As long as you sort of keep the car reined in a little bit, you sort of get away with it. But if you're pushing to the extreme limits, it's very easy to have a mistake here at Michigan. It's one of those tracks that really bites you as they're going all wide.
I just saw that in the background and quickly tried to jump on the camera there to see it, because they went 4 wide, and they all make it through, heaps of room.
Absolutely, my brain was chatting away there as that was starting to happen. Matt Patton going down on the inside of Jai Schultz, taking it 4 wide, and I was sort of going, wait, is that 4 wide? Oh yes it is, go by.
Oh,
Some
Jones
really good moves going on throughout the field.
Matt Patton's moving up a bit. He's up into 6th at the moment. Up 23 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Somebody's had their week bits this morning, haven't they? Matt Patton's absolutely flying through the field. Matt Patton's been sort of a bit absent this season, but it's nice to see him back, and he is absolutely flying at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job. He's just got to be a bit patient here. He's trying to find a way through, but both lanes are a bit blocked for him at the moment. But it looks like he's going to use that high line to get around Jones, and watch him probably go back to the low line now to try and get past Douglas.
call you Nostradamus. You called that one absolutely perfectly.
Well, what I saw was he's been making his moves on the low line, and Jones just parked it on the bottom and was kind of like blocking him a bit. So I was interested to see how he was going to handle it, because I thought he might be getting a little bit frustrated with that. But no, he went up to the top and got past, and then as soon as he was able to, he's dropped back down.
I get the sense that some people are saving a little bit here, because there are a few people that are pulling up a massive lead, and one of them is JCW, who's taking the lead of the race, pulling out a 0.6 of a second lead up the front as well, and is really flying. And same for Matt Patton. They are really, really siving their way through the field, as Patton almost up into P2 here, really, really pushing hard. And I wonder if a couple of drivers are just taking it easy in this early stage, just to keep the tyres alive for the latter stint.
They could be, yeah. They might have locked themselves into a two-stopper. Yeah. I don't know how many laps we can get out of the tank.
That makes it more interesting for the broadcast.
So I mean, if they can, yeah, I mean, they could be trying to make it to lap 50, so then they just one stop it. And the guys who are pulling away might be two-stopping it.
We did see last night in the Xfinity Series at Indianapolis, it was a race where you could make it in one stop, but you had to really save in the early stages. And one of those people that was doing that was Andrew Dyson. He's dropped back 7 positions, but the fact he's dropped back so much and he's not really pushing it to the extreme, he's sort of happy sitting there in the draft and just keeping it calm, just tells me that he wants to save some fuel here. It's kind of what we saw last night at Indianapolis. So I wonder if these guys up the front are just going to go absolutely hell for leather, see what they can do, and just see if a caution comes out in the right time for them, or if it will come back to those guys just keeping it a little bit calmer in the pack. But that is the thing with racing, is it's one of those things that we see is you can sometimes be the absolute fastest car on track, especially on an oval, and still lose the race just because you're going a bit too fast. Sometimes you have to save a little bit just to make sure you can make it to the end. And I wonder if we'll see these drivers that are absolutely pushing it at the moment take a big gulp of air and start clutching it heavily in the latter stages of their stint to try and make it, and start losing time back to those that are saving from now on.
I'd be interested to know with Patton, because Patton's in he's got nothing to lose situation. He's not running for a championship, so he's running for wins. So yeah, I think he'll just go for it. I think Joshua Carroll-Warden will be a bit more just strategy focused, because he is running for the championship and looking to get himself into that chase. I'm not 100% sure what his point situation is. We could bring those up and have a look if we like.
Yeah, JCW is just sitting inside the top 10 at the moment. He's sitting 10th.
Yeah.
49 points ahead of Jamie Nankervis behind him, and 12 points behind Dave Douglas. So he's in a bit of a do or die sort of position, you got to say.
Yeah, he's going to be making sure that he gets a good finish, whereas Matt Patton he's in a position where he can just go for it. If it doesn't work out, then he doesn't really lose anything.
That's it. He's in that situation where he does not have to worry about the championship at all, and that's what we love about this style of racing. Is brings out some wild cards sometimes. The championship drivers have to really be a bit protective, and that gives the opportunity to those drivers who are a little bit more aggressive to really take advantage of that. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Some of those drivers being a bit more aggressive up the front. Carroll-Walden and Matt Patton doing a good job of that as it stands.
Patton's looking to make the move now. Got a good run off 4, I think it is. Yep, heading into 1.
Holds that position nicely and makes the move again down on that low line. He has been absolutely on fire. The 587 moving his way up nicely through the field, up 28 positions, and that has all been from overtaking for the number 58 tonight. Great stuff out there, and look, a really big show of what you can do if you absolutely put your foot to the floor, because he's not had the opportunity of any cautions or any pit stops to work his way through the field. Every one of those has been done the hard way.
He's got some genuine pace tonight, that's for sure. Obviously didn't have a very good qualifying. Yeah, he's definitely got some good pace so far in 17 laps. Whether that hurts him later on in the run, that just remains to be seen.
We're starting to see the rest of the snake close up to this group now. Neil Pearson, Dave Douglas, Jai Schultz are starting to close the gap a little bit here. And then in sort of Daniel Hederscheid and Ryan Jones, that's where a gap starts to happen back to Ryan Jones. So we're seeing a little bit of the sort of pack closing in now. And those drivers that were taking it a little bit easier at the start of this stint, it's now coming back to them, we've got to say.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. As Pearson moves up to second, I think there is a little bit of coming and going where drivers are saving their car a little bit and saving their tyres and then having another crack and then saving, or whether they saved early to make sure they would make the number in the long run.
What it tells us, though, is, you know, drivers like JCW and Patton, they've got really good short-run pace. So if we see a late caution and they're up towards the front of the pack, they could be in for a real shout tonight. And that will keep the other drivers a little bit more aware of them too, because, you know, it's one thing having the sort of the long-run pace, the short-run pace, all sort of being in the middle. The middle drivers, people don't tend to worry about too much. It's the short-run pace guy, short-run pace guys that people tend to keep an eye out for. As Neil Pearson collects the wall a little bit there. I think he got away with it, but there's a few scratches on the side of the 62. But the short-run pace guys, they will be in a good position later in this race if we get a late caution.
Yeah, Neil's car looks not too bad. Yeah, a few little scratches on the back, over the back wheel. Overall, not too bad.
Yeah, got away with that one relatively unscathed, because that looked like a fairly hefty whack, but it was pretty much straight onto the wall. So it got away nicely as Dave Douglas gets a bit loose coming out of two there. The back end stepping out, and that's telling me the rears are starting to get a little bit warm and are starting to drop off.
Yeah, this is the time where it starts really getting your attention, you know, watching the body language of the cars, because this is when the tyres are sort of getting a bit too hot and they're getting really squishy, the tyres getting really squishy, and the grip's just not quite there in the back, and we start seeing cars sort of getting loose or sideways out of the corner, and possibility of a caution.
Absolutely. The caution odds start to go up and up as the stint goes on, and especially once those green flag stops start happening as well, that's when you're most likely going to see a caution flag flying, because people can make those mistakes coming in and out of pit lane. And well, we've seen a few people having mistakes made coming into pit lane in practice tonight. Quite a lot of people struggling to get themselves onto the pit road. So be interesting to see how that plays out in the race. But it's Matt Patton in the lead in the 587. He's got Neil Pearson behind him, JCW and Jai Schultz for company in third and fourth. I'm swapping those positions every time I look across when I was doing this quick rundown. And there's Dave Douglas in fifth. So quite a few hungry cars in that pack. Quite a few cars that are sort of relatively safe as well, as we see Lachlan Urquio working his way back towards the front now as well, going down underneath Ryan Jones. And Urquio's had some really good pace this season. He would surely love to get himself locked into the chase. But he's got to do it the hard way, getting a victory. He's got the points at the moment as well, but he would very much like to get that victory to make sure it is secure. He's battling it out at the moment with Barry Neal at the back of that train of cars. And, well, you can see this sort of front pack has pulled a fairly okay gap over the next group of cars, and then it's a sort of spitter spatter of cars behind as they start to spread out through this race.
A little bit of contact there between Henderson and Bowen, but they get away with it. Just a group of cars on top of each other here.
Yeah, watch out for Ruben Phelps. He will make an aggressive move. Known for keeping the aggression levels up, Ruben. And again, just absolutely goes for it. Just washes up a little bit, gets close to Bowen, has to lift off a little bit, and that's giving Matty Ray the chance to close. But got 3 SRM cars in a group here. Phil Otto just sitting behind them, going, yeah, close battle. I'm just going to sit here and see what happens. And Shane Bowman, the Combat Racing entry, sort of all on his lonesome up there, sort of battling it out against a whole group of other cars.
Yeah, it looks like Phelps and Raymond are really working together at the moment, trying to push their way up. Phelps is the second biggest move of the race with 13 spots gained. So he is making a bit of a charge now to the front. probably just sort of hung back a little bit and settled into the car in the race, and then decided he's going to drop the hammer now and work his way up. But there is a little bit of separation. These guys are about over 2 seconds now behind. Just having a look at it. Yeah, so there's about 2 seconds between 10th place Barry Neal and 11th place Ruben Phelps.
Yeah, there's some big gaps forming up throughout the field. They're 4 seconds off the lead as well, and that's crucial. You know, we've got quite a few cars that are just sort of drifting away and just sort of moved out of the draft action, as we see Neil Pearson making the move underneath Matt Patton and getting himself back up into the lead. But there's a whole swarm of cars behind him from Dyson back. JCW, Jones, O'Neill. Those guys are really battling it out at the moment. And really, every time I look, they're on a different line.
Yeah. We've been so focused on the front because there's been so much action happening on the front. I was just trying to give some airtime to the cars down the back more. So I'm sort of just trying to have a little look for these battles going through here. And as we see, the 231 of Paul Jackson's about to use the draft and get a good run past the 080 of Jordan. And Burns and the 119 just trying to follow through as well. A few Toyotas in the race tonight. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see them starting to come out in force and working their way up the field. The highest placing one at the moment is Jai Schultz, but Matt Patton as well running at the Toyota badge. So they're starting to swarm their way up towards the front, which is always a nice sign.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back and have a look at what happened to Ryan Jones there, because it looked like he had a little bit of an issue. So just see if we can find it. Oh yeah, loose in the corner. Didn't take much, but he lost a bit of speed out of that. If you see here in the corner, just gets a little bit out of shape. Not much to it really, but this is such a big, high speed, high momentum track that you know, you lose a little, you know, maybe 10-15 k's like that, and it's like you're standing still basically as the cars all sail past you.
Absolutely, it's very easy to lose positions here and sort of lose time as well. And you know, if you lose the draft pack as well, it can really affect you. We've sort of seen that where cars have dropped back as Matt Patton gets very close to the wall. Don't know if he made contact. He just sort of made contact. He just got in the dirty air behind Daniel Hederscheid, and it just lifted the nose off the tarmac a little bit, just caused the car to run wide. And that's something else you've got to be so cautious of. You know, when you're running so close to the cars in front of you, the dirty air can affect you, and it's just a little bit of turbulence behind the car. It just reduces some of that front grip you've got, and all of a sudden you find yourself sailing up into the wall where you haven't on previous laps, and it's a very, very quick thing to happen. But I was just going to say, Daniel Hederscheid has got the pace back in that car, trying to close down Neil Pearson at the moment, but he's up in P2 again. And the front's been sort of fairly active today.
Yeah, just trying to. As I say, I was just trying to give the rest of the field a little bit of a go. I think Philip Worley might be looking. He might be parking it for the night, maybe. He might have had enough first race back. No, he's going to get some tyres by the looks of it.
Could be a pit stop here. So lap 30.
He could be looking at a two-stopper. Yep, so the first of the two-stoppers.
Pretty much bang on for that, and we've got Lachlan Oakville coming down the lane now as well. So we have got the pit stops starting to happen. Green flag stops are starting to happen. Philip Worley the first to pull the trigger. Up in the top sort of 10 area, it's Lachlan Oakville. The next car, the SRM Mobile Brake Mechanical team, coming down the lane. And a long old trip down the lane to get into your pit stall when you qualify so high up the field. He gets into his box and get some fresh boots, some fresh fuel in there, and also do a couple of adjustments, I'm sure, and then get back out into this race.
Oh no, what's happened to the Riley's paint? Not sure what's happened there for Riley Curtis's paint, unfortunately. He had a nice new paint in practice.
Yeah, I've got the same paint showing up on my screen, so
It must be,
something.
yeah, something's gone wrong there. It's not just my end.
No,
Yeah.
it's a pretty looking car, but I don't think that's the right paint job.
The one with the Performance Streaming logos on it was far prettier.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. No bias there at all.
No.
Maddie Ray, Kobe Jordan, Luke Crum in the lane now, coming down for their service. So you've got cars pulling in, and going to be interested to see how long some of these guys can take it. So the guys that were really saving in that early stint, someone like Andrew Dyson, how long is he going to take it before he comes into lane as Neil Pearson makes big contact with the wall? That's cost him a huge amount of speed and dropped him down into second place. Daniel Hederscheid making his way through and pushing himself up into the lead once more.
Let's see what happened here to Neil.
Oh, and Daniel Hederscheid's just got up in the wall as well.
And let's see what happened to Daniel.
So it just looked like they just ran wide, just ran out of grip.
They've gone really, really high, and maybe they just, with the heat of the tyres at this stage of the run, they just got no grip, because Daniel's gone up there, but then Neil also looked like he was a bit out of control as well and heading up there.
Yep. And then Andrew Dyson's gone, yeah, I'll just sail my way past a couple of you guys.
Yeah, it just breaks that momentum, and you can just see here, like, yeah, Daniel's just standing still while the other cars pass him, really.
So you see Lachlan Acquio, he is out there at the moment, and he's the highest running car that's made a stop, I think. Just looking at my info, yeah, and he's got himself back on the lead lap nearly. Yeah, so he's going to...
He has to pass Neil here to get himself back on the lead lap, which he'll want to do. He makes pretty quick work of that.
And Neil Pearson, I think, is coming down the lane. He looks to be dropping it down low. And the 62 is pulling it into pit lane from the lead.
So Neil's pretty good on these. He's got these adjustments figured out for the most part. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he goes with this, if he makes any adjustments to the tyres and that. But I imagine he might be pretty happy with it. I mean, he's running pretty well in the first stint with the car.
Yeah, I imagine it's sort of trying something just to make it a little bit nicer in the sort of latter stages of the stint, maybe, just because it looked like the car just got a little bit sort of just a little bit tight in that last stint. So there might be a couple of tweaks just to try and adjust that by dropping the tyre pressure a little bit could help in that respect. Dyson in the lane now with Barry Neal. Daniel Hederscheid keeping it out another lap. So Daniel Hederscheid is running a frugal race at the moment, and he's managed to take it an extra lap here, and he will be the only car to make it to this long. As I was just about to say, I think Derek Jacobs will be coming in shortly, but
yep, but he's in
I get the feeling he's run out of fuel.
Oh.
So
yeah, it doesn't sound like the engine's running on that one.
No, it sort of... I jumped to him just to see what was happening, and the car was going very slow into turn 4, so turns 3 and 4, so it sounded like that thing was very much at the end of its fuel run. Daniel Hederscheid bring it in now, so 38 laps, the most you can get out of the tank by the looks of it, without some serious heavy saving.
Okay, that would make Worley's move make sense, having put it on lap 30. If he splits the run home, the final 70 laps at 35 laps each, so that would make sense. But the majority of the drivers have gone for about 34, 35 laps.
Just taking that a little bit longer, just giving... the longer you can take it in this stint means the more wiggle room you've got later on in the race, and it can give you some different strategies to play with. It might cost you a little bit in this early stage of the race, but later on it could come back to work for you. So in the lead, it's Lachlan Acquio, Matty Ray just behind him, having a lightning stop getting himself out in front of Andrew Dyson. So it's a SRM 1-2 at the moment, the Mobile Brake and Mechanical team. And, well, Ergo came in a little bit earlier than the leaders, but those fresh tyres have really helped out. And you can just see the undercut sort of really helping out at this stage of the race. But what we usually find is those fresher tyres will really help them out sort of in the next 10 or so laps, and you might see that gap closing down a bit.
Yeah, the lap times were about a second off from their fastest, second to second and a half a lap drop. Yeah, 1 second to 1.5 seconds a lap drop off in those tyres as that run went on.
Yeah, it's a track that, you know, it's not the hardest on tyres, but the high speeds here and track temperature, it does take away some of that life and it takes away some of the speed of the tyres here at Michigan, and that's what we've seen there is just the advantage of those fresh boots really paying off. But this is where the rest of the pack could start closing up. But at the moment, Lockie's last time was a 39.152. Dyson's was a 39.1. Paddy Rose was a 39 dead. So those guys on the slightly older tyres have still got some really good pace at the moment, and they're keeping themselves out front. Lockie's got a 1.3 second lead over Matty Ray, and just about a 3 second lead over the rest of the pack. And, you know, I thought they might be really heavily saving in that first stint. And I think there were a couple of people that had a lot more pace in the latter stage. But Matt Patton did a great job. He wasn't that far off of the pit stops of everybody else. And he's absolutely had the pace in him. So that just shows how much pace the 587 has tonight.
He's up there with genuine pace. It's not, you know, not strategy or anything. He's just genuinely fast. He's driven up there and he's stayed up there.
It's great to see when we get some returning faces and they got the pace under their belt. Always an exciting thing to see. Some fresh faces up towards the front of the field. But right now, Ruben Phelps is looking to put himself up a little bit higher as well. Trying to get underneath Matt Patton, gets a little wiggle there, but keeps the car holding, loses momentum a little bit, and that could give Jai Schultz the chance to make a move. And Barry Neal too, just dropping to that low line. It just got a bit uncomfortable for Ruben there, and the back end just stepped out on him. So it's crucial information for this run. And a driver that will probably be able to run that low line without too much issue is going to be somebody like Barry Neal. He's very good at running the sort of lower lines on tracks and keeping the car in the right direction. And if everybody else is struggling down there on the sort of lower half of that midline, then it could be a really good opportunity for Barry Neal, because he's very good at keeping to those lines and keeping the car in the right direction.
Yeah, Barry's natural driving styles, you can't really put a finger on it, but it's just the way he drives. These tracks where they can be a bit high line dominated like this, he has this natural ability to run the low line and make it work for him. Like he, see him make the pass here on Phelps. You know, so it really suits his driving style.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he can keep the car going at that pace as well for the whole stint and just run a completely different line to everybody else. And you still sit there going, how are you managing that? But he just pulls it off, and it just works out so well for him on tracks like this, and places like Auto Club Fontana and things like that. He's very good on a track like that where you can sort of run that sort of low line. It's a slightly quicker line in theory, but it's a very hard line to get right, and he can usually get it right. Looking down the field a little bit, we've got some good racing going on. 21st position, Luke Crum, Alexander Sheridan, Phil Otto, Jamie Nankervis all battling it out, and sitting on their tail is Norman Clark. So lots of action going on throughout the field as well here tonight, which is always what we like to see. It just makes our job a little bit harder because we don't know where to keep our cameras set.
No, we'll give a little bit of a have a little bit of watch of the Black Arrows cars of Dan Curvis and Clark and see how they get on. Full auto running pretty solid there as well, 23rd, and the inside lane cars of Tomlin and Crum having a good run as well.
Yeah, having a good run and keeping themselves in a good position as well to work together in this race. And that's always a good thing to have some teammates around you. Just up at the front of the field, as Andrew Dyson gives the wall a tiny little kiss there and loses himself a little bit of momentum. But Barry Neal is on the move up towards Neil Pearson now, and he's really using that sort of lower line to his advantage and creeping his way up through the field, making himself up a place every couple of laps. And the number 22 is in hunt mode. Up front, Lachlan Acquio is still keeping that 2-second lead over this pack. So Lockie's doing a great job of keeping that time in the car. So is Matty Ray. You know, they've sort of kept themselves in this position since the pit stops. So if they can keep that pace tonight, they will be very happy indeed.
Yeah, Lockie's been there or thereabouts in terms of getting that first cup win. He's, he just needs to keep chipping away, and hopefully it'll come through. He'll get the breakthrough for him.
Yeah, he's been knocking on the door all season, and he's been having a really good season in points as well, just absolutely hoovering up with his teammates Matty Ray and Ruben Phelps. All three of those cars have been really consistent in their placing, just unfortunately not getting the W next to the name so far this season, but they have consistently been up at the top of the field every race. It's really good to see. And well, speaking of consistency, you can't put much past the DPR cars of Dyson and Pearson, that they've consistently been up the top and taking victories, of course, all season long. But, you know, not quite an easy night so far tonight at this stage. We're on lap 49, we're about halfway distance. We will be over the line this time round. And they're not pulling away from the rest of the field at the moment, and they are battling hard. As you see, Barry Neal is right on the inside here. The two orange cars fighting it out as they cross the line. Halfway distance reached here, and Barry Neal looks to be making the move up into P4.
Good move, good pass from Barry there.
Yeah, really nicely done. And I think Dyson, he just made a little mistake a few laps ago, and it's just been hemorrhaging a little bit of time there. Just lost that momentum that you were talking about before, Matt, and it's just dropped him back a few spots.
It seems like when they do that, it takes them a couple of laps to get it back. It's pretty weird. It's, you know, you think these cars would be up to the top speed, but it's just, yeah, it just always takes a lap or two to get that momentum back, get back in the groove.
Doesn't. You've just noticed just behind there was a little bit of free wide action with Hedershide Patton and Jai Schultz. Those guys are really racing hard at the moment and having a couple of laps there of just keeping it in free wide momentum. Ruben Phelps, sorry, not Patton. So they're still very racy behind, and you know they're still absolutely gunning for it. JCW's lost a little bit of time since the pit stops. Not quite as fast as he was in the early stages, unfortunately, for the 35, but I wonder if he's just trying to save a little bit for the next stage of the race. He's just going to take it a little bit easier this time round, as he felt he took a bit too much life out of the tyres in that last stint, and now he's sort of playing back and just putting a little bit more pace in. Meanwhile, there's a move going on for second place as Matty Ray is being swallowed up by the pack as they start to close the gap towards the front now. It's now go time for the field, I'd say, as well, some of these drivers are getting towards the sort of about 10 laps to go until their next pit stop margin. And we're starting to see the people that saved their tyres, the people that used a bit too much tyre, and the people that are just sort of in a different stage of their racing stint to others. Matty Ray, he's done 21 laps. Neil Pearson, 17 laps on these tyres. So the slightly fresher tyres are coming to fruition now.
And Barry looks like he's going to make the move on the inside as well. Third. Looks like Barry Neal's maybe tweaked his car tyre pressures in that pit stop to really suit him running that low line, because he's making good hay out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, well, speaking of somebody else taking advantage of the low line,
That was
Daniel
yeah.
Hedershide from nowhere.
Wow, yeah. Got a big run off turn 4 and just threw it down the inside, and it worked out well.
Thought they were going 3 wide there for a second. Absolutely from nowhere. Daniel, contact
no.
between Daniel and Matty Ray. Going to bring out the caution. Matty Ray, does he stop it before he gets in the wall? He does, just about.
Oh, that was a bit weird. We'll see if we can quickly grab a replay and grab a blimp view.
Some lucky drivers in that one. And Matty Ray got away relatively unscathed, very little damage on that one. But it looks to me like Daniel Hedershire's just washed up a little bit. He's just run up a little bit and gone into the side of Matty Ray there. And that's what's brought the caution out. He's just sort of run up a little bit too close to Matty Ray and just tweaked him round.
Just seeing if we can get a better camera view of that. You see them there, and then just the slightest bit of touch, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It's enough to send them both spinning around, though.
And we've seen it in this generation of Cup car. It's very, very easy to make it go round just with the slightest bit of contact on the right or left quarter panel. You know, it just takes a light nudge, and the car is going to go right around. Matty Ray, he did a great job of getting that car stopped, not hitting the wall. He absolutely skimmed it with his nose, but didn't make contact with the safer barrier, and then had to try and get his car back in the right position, and luckily did that without any issue. So both those cars are going to be absolutely fine, I would say. Tyres not so much, but they've come in, chucked a new set of those on, and well, everybody is now on the same strategy, but nobody can make it to the end from here.
No one can make it from the end from here. That's gonna... Nah, I mean, you're looking at 5 laps of fuel saving, which I don't think that's possible on this sort of track. Someone might give it a go, but I think you just go hell for leather and just go as fast as you can, and just split it. Or actually, no, just keep going as long as you can until the tank runs out, and hope that there's a caution.
Well, we've seen that tyre drop-off it's not too bad, but it is there. So I would probably want to go 20 laps and then come in and take advantage of those fresh tyres and make a bit of a jump on people. Because if they take it a bit too long, then they might, you want to have a few laps in there to be able to take advantage of those fresh tyres. But it's going to really, really change things up.
Yeah. Now, I'm just thinking about that incident. I'm just wondering, I know that I think Auto Club's got a bit of it, whereas on that back straight there's a few little bumps in the track, and then as the tyres get pretty warm, you hit those bumps and the car moves around quite a bit. And I wonder if maybe Daniel might have hit one of those bumps or something, and that's what's made him sort of drift up and into Raymond there. But yeah, it's pretty... Yeah, it didn't take much, it was just the slightest bit of contact.
It was one of those that was just very, very close, and I think just missed it by millimeters, and unfortunately it just a little bit of misjudgment there on Daniel Hedershide's side. Just slight bit of contact. It wasn't really much at all, but it's well, we've got to say, thankfully both of those cars are still running fine, so there's no damage. It's just brought out the caution flag for this. And well, what do we say about cautions? They sometimes breed cautions. Well, not sometimes, they pretty much always breed cautions. So, lots of cars on cold tyres now for this restart, and a very mixed up pack, and it's now going to be Lachlan Urquio leading them away. He's going to be going into the restart zone on that low line. Watch out for Barry Neal. He had a really poor getaway on the start of the race, and I reckon he'll have a better restart now. He'll know what gear to have it in and be much more confident. But the two DPR cars up on the high side will be working very hard to try and make sure that Urquio does not get a decent lead here. Up to the restart zone they come, and we're going to go green here. 43 laps remaining. We're on lap 57 here, and we are going to the end, and away they go. Lopinatko gets a nice restart on that low line, drifts himself up towards the high line straight away after the start line. So he has got himself in a nice position where he can get himself up to defend that high line immediately. Neil Pearson's going for the attack though early on, getting down underneath Lockman and getting up into the lead. And there's lots of action, and there's a wreck happening in the background as the caution flag will fly again here tonight at Michigan. So let's unpack what happened there.
Yeah.
There's two incidents happening here, Matt. So Riley Curtis has the mother of all slides and somehow saves the car. So Riley survived, but unfortunately there was contact between Dwayne Burns and Kobe Jordan, and that's shot Burns up into the back of Brenton Henderson. And then a monster wreck happens in the background, but everybody getting away relatively unscathed again. So no real big damage other than, I think, Dwayne Burns. I think he got a fairly hefty whack to the front, but everybody else sort of got away sort of relatively unscathed from that carnage. So, as is often the case in oval racing in NASCAR, we have had a nice long green period followed by a caution, and then a caution coming out straight away afterwards. Dwayne Burns facing the wrong direction, some front end damage to his car, unfortunately. Everybody else looking semi-okay, but that has brought out the caution flag, and this is going to be, well, there's a chance here you can make it to the end on fuel coming in now and even behind the pace car. So this is going to turn it into a bit of a fuel saving run to the end here, Matt.
It is definitely going to change the complexion of this one. There'll be a number of drivers who do try and make it to the end from here. I think they'll be probably clutching and saving under the pace car as well. And then there's a number of cars who have come into the pits as well. So still 38 laps. I mean, that puts it right on the limit. I mean, we only saw one car do 38 laps.
Indeed, like that's the thing, is it's going to be a long old stint here to get to the end on the tank of fuel. So definitely worth a punt if you're in the lower half of the field to try it. Really go full fuel saving so you can get to the end, because if you can take advantage of that, you could be looking at a very good position at the end of this race.
Yeah, and as you say, we might not have seen the last caution of the night now. I think it's just one of those things, you know, they've done, they had a 50-lap green flag run. They sort of know and understand how much grip they've got and what the car's doing, how hard it is to pass, and so they're more willing to be aggressive early in the run to make those passes and moves. And so, yeah, we might see more cautions happening.
I would not be surprised to see another yellow flag out here, but it's so often the case. So when you had a big long green flag period like that, you find yourself as all closed up in the groups again, and everything's tight, everybody's racing really, really hard again. It can sometimes make it so, the aggression levels are up a little bit more, and you just make those silly little mistakes and brings out the caution again. What we're going to hope to see, though, is a nice green flag race to the end, as I think some people have come down the lane one more time as well to just absolutely top the tank up for this run. So few people are going to be trying to get to the end of this race on their tank of fuel. everybody else, it's marginal if they can make it. We don't think they can.
No, I think you'd be pushing it be pushing the fuel economy quite a bit to make it from here, I think. But yeah, I think Shane Bowen, Ben Hinker, Derek Jacobs, Paul Jackson, I think they just topped up again with fuel, so they're trying to. I'd keep an eye on for them to be trying to make it to the end without another pit stop.
Keep our eyes open on that half of the field. Pace car is coming up to the pit lane though. We're pulling it down into the lane, and we're going to go back to green flag racing here. 39 laps remaining tonight, and well, it's going to be a mad dash to the end as Neil Pearson's getting ready to go in the restart zone. He's going to wait. He drops the pedal right at the end of the restart zone. Gets away nicely there, and the two DPR cars are pulling away very nicely on the low line, getting a very good start pulling on Ryan Jones with the high line, just not able to get away quite at the same time there, and it's just seeing what Pinocchio drop back down into fourth position now. Look, Ryan Jones working his way up towards the front as they come back onto the back straight here again. 38 laps remaining, and lots of action to come. And well, we've seen it being very racy throughout the race tonight, and I think we're going to start seeing them get very racy once again as people will be full on for this one. Philip Wally up in the wall, giving it a fairly long glancing blow. He's managed to get it off the wall, but he's lost a whole heap of positions from that one, unfortunately.
A combination of things happened on that restart. Pearson and Dyson, obviously in the same team chat, they called it when they were going. Oh, Jones gets a little bit of contact, but he saves it, does a really good job. So your combination of Pearson and Dyson calling the restart perfectly, and Urquhart not quite getting a very good restart on that top line as well, so that allowed those two to sort of clear out pretty quick.
Yeah, they've managed to pull themselves up nicely, and then just behind we got a whole heap of very hungry cars coming along, and down the back of the pack the racing is absolutely furious as I think we've got groups of cars that are doing some fuel saving, and at the back of the pack they are going full throttle at the moment, not giving a damn about that.
3 wide and going for it.
Absolutely, they're racing like it is the win for Talladega at the moment. They are really racing hard down at the back of the pack, but look, that could be a chance to get a really good position in this race come the latter stages, because we don't think anybody else can make it to the end unless they do some really good fuel saving. There's a chance they can, but it's going to be very, very tight for the leaders.
The lap times would suggest that no one's fuel saving the front anyway. You know, they're running right on their quickest lap times of the night, so their best lap times, so they're all, I mean, Hedishut's last lap was his best lap of the night. Urquhart's was pretty close to his, so yeah, they're not fuel saving at the front, I don't think. I think they're just all going for it.
They're doing that thing that we love to see. They are absolutely pushing the cars to the extremes and going full throttle at the moment. And Daniel Hedishut is pushing his way up nicely. So is looking after that restart, getting himself up right behind Neil Pearson. A little bit of contact, I think, to the back of Urquhart from Dyson there. Car was dancing into the corner and he managed to save that one. Really nicely done. They are pressing on each other hard as they go 3 wide for the lead here at Michigan. And down the inside, Lachlan Urquhart on Daniel Hedishut.
Yeah, he got a nice, really big, nice runner. He got the bump draft into the corner, which unsettled the car a little bit, and then then he managed to get the speed and momentum and just use that to slingshot to the front. Of course, we've got to be careful anytime Dyson's bump drafting though. So yeah.
That's it. Neil Pearson just going, look, I can do that, Dyso too. Just giving Lockie a little bit of a bump draft across the start-finish line. So they are very much racing as hard as they can. It's somebody's having a bit of a connection issue.
Right in front of Dyson too. So
not what you want to have happen, especially on a fast track like this.
But Urquhart's, he's got up to the front, but he's staying there. He's got pretty good speed up there, and he's just run his best lap time.
Akio's got some really good pace tonight, and he's had some really good races recently, but he's showing tonight that he has got that pace to be at the front of the field, and he is going to be super happy about that. He just wants to make it to the end to show that he can carry that pace through the race and come home with a good finish. Of course, he's been up on the podium a few times this season, so he would surely love to be back up there tonight, but Neil Pearson is going to be trying to deny him the top step, because we know there's a bit of an inter-team battle now between Pearson and Dyson, and they want to be the best DPR car. They want to be the car with the most wins. Currently, I think it's Dyson in the lead of that one, but by about three wins, I think it is.
2 wins. 9 plays 7.
So yeah, it's very close indeed between those two. So though Neil would be very happy to even out the win ratio, I'm sure. I think Barry's just let off a little bit. He's dropped down a couple of positions and just sort of getting out of the way as the car's been a little bit blinky. But he'll come back into this one, I'm sure, once the internet gods start giving him some latency back, and he can get back into this race. It'll be a car to watch out for, because we've seen him having some really good runs in the latter stages of the stint as well. So he's definitely got some good late run pace. JCW back up there as well. We saw him running away with the race earlier on. He's sort of a little bit slower in that second stint, but I think he's sort of saving a little bit. He's sort of got his head around the car, and he is going to be much happier in this stint of the race. 29 laps to go here, and look, plenty of action still to come. As we say, we're expecting everybody, pretty much everybody bar the cars that came in that last caution, to need to make a stop here. Of course, I'm sure that will be that will be absolutely wrong, and they'll all have plenty of fuel at the end of the race, as is tradition here. Whenever we think it's going to be a tough race on fuel.
Yeah, we always try and think it's going to be one way, and it's always another.
Ooh, contact up the front between Quio and Neil Pearson. Big door-to-door action between those two cars. They were really door slamming, and that's given Daniel Hendershire the chance to make it up into the lead group as well. And watch out for the 27 of Jai Schultz. They are really racing hard here for the lead of the race. And well, they're not even a lead.
And that incident at the front as well has bunched them all up. So we've now got all these cars all on top of each other, all racing hard for the win. They all want it. So yeah, let's keep an eye on this. Sorry to the people running down the back of the field. We would like to, give you a bit of airtime, but there's just too much action happening out the front. So we've just got to stay up here.
Exactly. We appreciate your comments saying you've had a really good race at the back of the field and was some epic racing, but we've got to keep our eyes on the front pack at the moment, because that's where this action is going for it. And there's no love lost between any of these drivers at the moment, because they are really racing each other hard. Everybody is coming off everybody's nose. They are really going for it at the moment. Daniel Heddershire's managed to get himself a little bit of breathing room out the front, with Neil Pearson and Lachlan Oquio sort of just about pulling themselves up now, but the rest of the cars are absolutely packed up. As you see, Ruben Phelps going for a do or die move down the inside.
He just got a massive run off turn 4 and just slingshotted past a number of cars there. He's going to be on the low line on the entry to turn 3 and 4 this time round, though, which means those cars on the outside are going to be probably get back around him.
And look at the car behind Ruben Phelps as well. It's Matt Patton. Matt Patton's one of those cars that came in with the caution, so he's got a little bit of extra fuel in that car. And we know that car's been racy because he worked his way from the back of the field to the front in the first stint. And then this last stint, he was at the back of the pack as well. So he's had to drive past 30 other cars to get himself back up to the front of this field. And he's done it about 3 times tonight.
And he's four laps later pitting than the rest of the cars in front of him. So that would make him 4 more laps better on fuel. So wait to see if that's going to be a deciding factor in the race or not.
Absolutely. If it runs green, it could well be.
Phelps slingshots around the outside.
Really, really close stuff as now Urquio's making a move on Pearson up towards the front again, and then behind it is all chaos as well as they're 3 wide too. It's trying to keep an eye on all this action. It's the hardest thing to do at the moment. There is just so much going on this racetrack, so many people trying different things, and crucially, I'm just keeping an eye on pit lane just quickly because Philip Worley has come in and he is heading straight back out. So Philip Worley was not good to go to the end. So yeah, that will be interesting to see because he must be the DPR guinea pig for tonight. Not quite up there in positions, but he's coming out now on some fresh tyres and seeing what he can do. 23 laps to go here to the end. Oh, JCW saves it somehow! And nobody else gets collected in that one. That was a scary moment.
We'll quickly go back and have a look at that one up again.
Contact between himself and Reuben Phelps. And JCW just had the save of the night there because I thought that was going to be a caution. I was about to say, and that's our third caution for the night. Somehow he saves that car. That was a big moment.
Boom, yeah, just a hit on the left rear quarter there. And JCW does a really good job of saving it, and everybody else does a really good job of avoiding him. You see the massive difference in speed there. They all get around him safely.
Yeah, that could have been a massive wreck as well. You know, great awareness by everybody just to split them. Pit lane is Lachlan Urquio and Andrew Dyson. They are pitting. So the leaders cannot make it to the end. No. So this is a race down pit lane. And well, caution! We've got a caution. We've got a caution coming out. Oh my. As
smoke on the front straight.
Burns, the two Cobalt Racing cars have had contact with each other. And I think it's Sheridan and Dwayne Burns making contact with each other as they were going 3 wide through the corner, and they caught Christopher Tomlin up on there and brought out the caution flag.
It seems to have taken us back quite a bit.
And they were just coming up to the start-finish straight when that happened.
Oh, Tomlin's in the wall and slow, and then that's made them. So if we have a look back here, you can see up the top that Tomlin's a little bit slow in the wall. If I can find him, and then that's made that caught him and taken it 3 wide. Oh, that's awkward. So Tomlin just innocent partner in that one there. And yeah, the 119 and the 555 just get tied up. I don't know who the team boss is there, but might not be happy with that.
No. Okay, so Lachlan Urquio didn't take his stop, so he drove through the lane and decided not to take his stop just to save him from going down a lap. But looks like he would have made it out by the skin of his teeth because Andrew Dyson did make his stop and made it through and didn't drop down a lap, so he didn't get caught behind the pace car. So I think this has worked out surprisingly well for the man that doesn't believe in luck, but Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, not sure why lucky. Maybe he should have just taken his pit stop if he was there, but
I think he was concerned he would have been caught down a lap because Dyson got out millimetres away from having that happen. And I wonder if I'm going to go back and look and see if he actually came out, if the pit lane was open when he got out the lane, because it would have been very close to, he just got out So he got out by the narrowest of margins. He just got out of pit lane just as the lane would have been closing. and then he made it onto the track just beside. So yeah, he made it out onto the track just as the pace car came out onto the track, so it meant he didn't lose a lap. So he just got through there by the narrowest of margins. So I think it was a thing of just not wanting to lose that lap, not wanting to lose that position. So it was, but I think he might have. Let's see what happens here, because
he has come in and pitted with everybody else, so he is now running 23rd. He has pitted, so he's good to go to the end. But yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like he's had really good pace. He's been up the front, but he just needs things to just go his way, and he just hasn't had that happen really. So yeah, out of his control.
Yeah. It was that risk of just going into the lane and taking that pit stop, and Dyson took that risk and just got out by the skin of his teeth. Lachlan Urquio didn't want to take that risk, and I don't blame either of them for either of those decisions, because it would have been close either way.
Yeah, and Dyson's in a position where he's got nothing to lose. He's got 9 wins already, so he's he can take more risks than everybody else really.
And I think even worse for Lockie is he sped down pit lane, so he's got himself a drive-through.
Yeah, that just compounds it.
Yeah, it just maybe he saw he'd gotten that penalty in the first place and didn't want to risk dropping down a lap. So it just it's gone from bad to worse, hasn't it? Really.
It has. Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, he's restarting 24th. I was thinking with maybe 18 laps to go, he's still a good chance of getting back up to the front. But he's probably going to need a caution now. I don't know if he'll go a lap down when he comes in for the penalty, but yeah, he'll need a caution now to get back on the contention.
If it's a drive-through, then he might just be able to make it out in front of the pack, but it's going to be close. As the pace car pulls in, we're going to go back to green flag racing. It's Dyson in the lead. Daniel Hederscheid on his outside. Ruben Phelps, Ryan Jones behind him. Into the restart zone they come, and we go green. 18 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway, and it is DPR of Andrew Dyson in the lead, but there is a lot of cars behind him that are very hungry for a win tonight. And as they come across the line, we've got 16 laps remaining. Dyson just gave the wall another little nibble, and that's cost him momentum, because now you've got Ruben Phelps and Daniel Hederscheid closing up thick and fast. Ruben Phelps is hungry for a victory in the Cup Series, and he would sorely love to get that, as well as the SRM team, to secure one of their drivers into the playoffs. Absolutely. But he has got Daniel Hederscheid, Andrew Dyson to beat in that respect. Matt Patton, he is one of those drivers that's a complete outsider. He is in there and a wild card, but he could be in for victory tonight. And what a victory that would be. He has done it all the hard ways. He's coming up past Brian Jones, the man that's been the bridesmaid so many times this season. He would sorely love to get a win in the Cup car. He's got the win in the truck and the Xfinity, but not the Cup car as of yet in the ANZCAR series. Daniel Hederscheid getting a good run on the low line here, side by side with Dyson, coming down the front straight. Daniel Hederscheid working his way back up towards the front after that moment with himself and Matty Ray. Ruben Phelps up there as well, and well, we've seen how aggressive Ruben can be on those moves. He can absolutely go full send here as well in the next 15 laps as Dyson collects the wall again. He just gives the wall the tiniest nudge, but he doesn't lose too much momentum.
We're too wide now, 3 deep. It's good as Jones. Jones is really firing her out the outside. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but slowed him down a little bit.
It has, and up the front, Daniel Hederscheid is taking it out to the leaders. They're 3 wide coming into the corner. Patton in the middle. Ruben Phelps on the inside. He's got himself up into second. It's the Kiwis up the front, leading away ahead of Matt Patton, Andrew Dyson, Matty Ray, Jai Schultz, Ryan Jones. Neil Pearson, Dave Douglas and Brenton Henderson. That's our top 10 at the moment, but that could change in a blink as those guys are absolutely nose to tail, racing so hard. All the saving, all of that fuel saving, all of that tyre saving they did in the race, none of that matters. It is full send now to the end in this final 13-lap shootout.
Yeah, they're about to catch Equio again as well. He did go 1 lap down from that penalty, and yeah, they could be catching him again. As I say, he needs a caution to get back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got Derek Jacobs and Alexander Sheridan in front of him, so he is not in that lucky dog position either. He's sort of in a really unenviable spot at the moment. He needs a couple of cautions to get himself back into this race for sure, but tonight of what could have been for him. Meanwhile, the rest of the field are doing what they can to make this race happen, and they are doing a great job of it. Up the front, though, Daniel Hedershide and Ruben Phelps have pulled away and have got a good couple of tenths of a second over Matt Patton in third, who's battling it out with Andrew Dyson. They are really racing hard at the moment. Of course, Daniel Hedershide, he has got a win next to his name this year. He's got himself that chance of getting into the shootout, into the chase with the win next to his name. But Ruben Phelps, he's in on points, but he would love to make it secure with a victory.
Ooh. 2 to 3 wide there. We've got a battle pack up the front here, which is, just trying to think, this is about 13 cars, I think, 12 cars, and then there's another little bit of a gap, but then we've got another battle pack back here.
Absolutely,
It's just probably even bigger.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like you've got those two battle packs happening, and then there's the battle for the lead happening as well. There's so much action going on at the moment. It's just impossible to keep your eyes in the right spot. I'm keeping my eyes up at the front at the moment, but that front battle pack is well, it's really aggressive at the moment. I'm seeing cars jump up 5 or so positions every other lap, and Ryan Jones has just done that. He's absolutely flown his way through that pack. He's behind Matt Patton, who we've seen having some really good pace tonight, as Barry Hill has a big moment.
Yeah, use the runoff area to catch it and save it and keep going.
And he should be able to just be in position to sort of use the draft and not really lose too much speed from that one. So it's not affected him too much. 10 laps to go. It is really, really heating up here at Michigan. The sort of secondary pack is closing in on the front as well, as Ruben Phelps makes a move for the lead. Down the inside goes the 06. And the Flying Kiwi is looking to make his way up into the lead of the race, but Daniel Hedershide is not willing to give it up. The Natari driver is showing that team has still got the cars to work it out at the front of the field, doing a great job leading this at the moment. These two really fighting, and you can see at the top of the screen that battle pack is still so very close with each other. Plenty of action going on there throughout the field. Brenton Henson just flown his way up towards the front of that pack now. He was sitting down there in about 11th spot before. He's worked his way up into the top 5 for a couple of moments there. They are just changing positions thick and fast as we are coming to the end of the race. Daniel Hedershide just gets loose in the mid-corner, gets a loss of speed, loses some of that momentum, and that gives Ruben Phelps the lead of the race. Meanwhile, the battle pack behind has dropped into sort of single file mode for a couple of moments. As soon as they get into the corner, they start fanning out once again.
It's a great sight. You got 4 or 5 cars all running different lines into the same corner. It's a great track for racing on the service. I'm not sure how it races in real life, if it races this good in real life, but for us, every time we come to these 2-mile tracks, we get these kind of races, and they're really, really exciting to watch.
Absolutely, they do deliver very well, and Michigan is, it's a place that many people enjoy, and I think that's shown tonight with the turnout. We had a really good field turnout tonight, 30 cars strong for tonight's race, and plenty of people going for it. We've got a wreck happening. Oh no, they've managed to save it again. JCW saves it again. He has very much got 9 lives tonight, JCW. He had contact, he just drifted up, made contact with Matty Ray, and was sailing up towards the wall and just saved it. So that's life number 2 gone for JCW. So he's He's running out of them tonight, but with 6 laps to go, he doesn't need them anymore for sure.
No, and it keeps dropping him back, and he has to work hard to get back within the pack, and then, yeah. So Dyson's getting a little bit, having a little bit taily as well, coming out of those corners.
Yeah, he's really dropped off pace-wise as well. Dyson's sort of falling down a bit, and you can see Brendan Henderson doing a great job putting the pressure on him. He's taking that high line and just using that momentum out the corner to slingshot his way past. So lots of action here, but Dyson chopping his way up to stop that move. So they are really, really going for it back there, and could easily be for the win as well, because, you know, Phelps and Hedershide, their battle's still not over with 5 laps to go. They're still fighting it out at the front. Phelps has got the lead at the moment, but Daniel's sitting back there going, yeah, we'll see what I can do. Matt Patton is really, really trying to turn the screws on that car, really putting the pressure down and absolutely gunning it at the moment, ahead of Neil Pearson. So he's really wanting to get himself at least onto the podium tonight, so he could be in with a really good shot. And well, we could have the interesting situation here, Matt, of having cars that have made up 26 and 23 positions in this race in the top 3.
Yeah, proving like a super speedway that the qualifying doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, they've really showed that tonight. I think the top 3 drivers, you've got Neil Pearson, the highest of those, in 4th, Andrew Dyson in 6th, and then it's Lachlan Oetker down in 24th. It's been a rough night for the ones that started out at the front of the grid. Daniel Hedershide getting a good run here down at the back straight, and he is really, really sort of thinking about it every time. Ruben Phelps is sort of sitting there going, look, you know, surely you just give me one. I mean, you know, it's not that important to get a victory. You're already into the playoffs. You don't have anything to worry about. If I get this win, I'm nice and safe.
Yeah, Phelps he'll be really wanting to get this win. He's been on the cusp of getting one for a while. Same situation as Erquio as well, really. Been thereabouts, and just had stuff happen to take that away, you know. And you just need to keep putting yourself in these situations, and then keep working on closing the deal. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, but maybe he can do it tonight. I don't want to show any favoritism to anybody, so yeah.
They are really, really racing hard out there at the moment. Plenty of action going on throughout the field, and look, with 1 and a bit laps to go, it is quickly coming to the end of tonight's activities. As up the front, there is a move going for the lead. Hedershide's going down the inside, and he's got a good run on the final straight. We've got 1.5 laps remaining, and the leaders are fighting it out once again. Hedershide getting himself up into the lead at the moment. Phelps now sitting in 2nd place. Is he going to try and get the run? He gets the run as Hedershide gets loose. Hedershide gets very loose there. He manages to save the car, but that's meant Ruben Phelps has had to check up a little bit. He's managed to get himself up into the lead as the white flag shows. 1 final lap of this race to go. The white flag is out. That means we will not see the caution flag. Can Ruben Phelps get the 0-6 through here to the end? Looks like he has got a good opportunity to do it after that mistake from Daniel Hedershide has dropped him into 2nd place. Who's going to come home 3rd? That is the battle that's going to be really hot on track, as somebody's had a massive crash in the background. As Jamie Curtis is nice over and done with. We'll look at that soon. As Neil Pearson gets a run on Matt Patton, who's run out wide. He's losing spots thick and fast. What's happened to Patton there? As they come across the line,
Phelps has got the win.
Phelps has got the win. Ruben Phelps takes victory for SRM. Mobile Braking Mechanical is Ruben Phelps up 23 positions, taking victory here tonight. A great win there for Ruben, the Flying Kiwi, doing his job. It's a Kiwi 1-2 with Daniel Hedershide coming in 2nd, and Neil Pearson comes home in 3rd tonight after something happened to Patton in the final corner. But Neil Pearson comes home for a top 3 finish here tonight. Ryan Jones comes home in 4th spot, and then the race was really on in the background. Dyson comes home in 5th, and then Brenton Henderson, Jai Schultz, Maddie Ray, and Barry Neal. See, there was barely anything covering those 4 cars. There was less than 100th of a second covering those 4 cars. It was very, very close. Jamie Nankervis was having a big accident at the end of the race as well. So unfortunately for him, that took him out of a fairly decent finishing position, I think it was. He had a big moment as trying to figure out what's happened in the final stage of the race there between those 2 cars, because he's had a big moment. But we'll watch Ruben Phelps enjoying his donuts.
Yeah, I've got a bookmark on it. We'll go back and have a look at them, but we'll just have a look at the victory burnout, because it's pretty. You saw a few drivers give them a bit of a bump of congratulations. So, but right. So what we'll do, we'll have a little look at these replays and see if we can figure out what's happened to Nankervis first of all.
So it's JCW. He's used up all of his 9 lives. He gets a little bit taily coming into the corner, makes contact with Norman Clark, and then loses it coming out of the corner. And unfortunately, tail steps out again, bang into the wall, straight into Jamie.
And then he's a passenger heading to the inside wall. Oh, jeez. Yep. That's a pretty big hit there for Jamie. And unfortunate White Enders Night dropped him out into 25th, and then there was obviously another wreck after as well.
Yeah, JCW not holding his brake there.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And with it being the last lap as well, there's no caution, so everyone's just going to go flat out and try and get through and get as many positions as they can.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's taken out a whole heap of cars. So I would say charitably, JCW will be getting a penalty for that one.
And so we'll have a look at this here. So this is the Matt Haddon incident.
Yeah, so it just looks like he's just run up really high and just lost speed. So I'm not sure what's happened there. It's just sort of lifted out of it.
I think he's because he's not in the championship hunt. I think he's decided to just bail out of it so that people can get their points and stuff. Yeah, but it's caught other people out. It's caught Dave out because he's just going so slow. But yeah, I think he's just bailed out of it he doesn't want to affect the championship points.
Yeah. So that's what's happened there. And as I said, then there was I don't know if you caught the extra wreck that was happening with JCW there, Matt.
Let's have a look and see that.
So the aftermath of that incident.
So we had...
Yeah, so he let off the brake, and that was that big accident, And unfortunately, that's caught a whole heap of cars out. So, big moment after the race. But it was a very good night for some drivers out there. And, well, let us start with getting a few of those drivers up for a bit of a chat. And we're going to start off with the DPR car as the red 62 of Mr. Neil Pearson. So let us drag him up and bring him to the booth. Neil Pearson, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on a P3 here tonight at Michigan.
Thank you very much, Carl.
It was a long race for you with lots and lots of battling.
Yeah, it was good fun. The high-speed draft races, they're good fun, and it's a bit of a lottery where you're going to end up. But I think I was up front most of the race, so it was good fun.
Well, we saw you really having some good runs out there, and we saw some good door banging action as well between yourself and a couple of those cars as well.
Yeah, it's hard to pass here if you're on the inside. So I think they were just driving it in, and I was trying to pinch them, and they come up a bit. But no harm, no foul. I think I was annoyed at the time, but no accidents out of it. So who cares?
Well, that is it. When there's no damage, no accidents out of it, that's the main thing. You can look back at it and laugh.
That's it.
Look, it was the tricky one for those final cautions tonight. We saw everybody sort of the majority of the field leaving it out there, not wanting to sort of try and come in and make it a fuel safe to the very end. Were you tempted to try and save it to the end, or did you think there was no hope?
I was tempted, but I just don't think we could do it. It was like 9 liters or something I had to save if I wanted to. So I was like, it's not even worth trying. And I think you would have just lost the draft, and I don't think it was worthwhile. Maybe if we had another 3 or 4 laps or something on a pace car, maybe, but not where we were.
No, well, I just wanted to ask, how close were you to coming down the lane? We saw your teammate Daiso coming into the lane just as that caution flag, just a couple of moments before that caution flag actually came out. Were you sort of going to be joining him in the next lap or two, or are you going to stick it out a bit longer?
I was going to do 2 laps from there. I didn't want to give them too much because we saw in the middle of the race when Lachlan pitted like 6 laps before me. It was really hard to run him down. So I didn't want to give Daiso and Lachlan too much. So I was just gonna maybe 1 or 2 and then come in and hopefully come out behind them or really near them and make a race of it.
Absolutely. Well, we saw you making a race of it at the end. It was a hard battle between yourself and Matt Patton down to the flag there.
Yeah, it was good. He actually let me pass at the end because he thought he put me in the wall or something on a restart, but no, he didn't. So maybe we should give him an interview as well because I think he deserves the 3rd place more than I do. He had it. So
No, it was a really good run. And nice to see him out on track and having a run out there. And sportsmanship of you there, Mr. Pearson, as well.
no worries. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Now, before I let you go, the usual thing, the love for shout out, please go for it.
Yeah, first off, you guys for the broadcast and ANZCAR for the league, teammates for the fun racing and everyone out there. I cannot find the thingy that I need, so I'm just going to wing it. There it is. Simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, NP Designs, Ruben for the win, and Daniel for the second. They drove really well and they got that gap halfway through that last run, and they were able to do their own thing, which was good for them.
Look, great stuff. Well done, Neil Pearson. Congratulations on 3rd here tonight, and I'm sure we're going to be speaking to you in the very near future.
Hopefully.
Neil Pearson there for DPR coming home in 3rd position tonight, and may not felt he deserved it, but he had a really good run out there. And yeah, as I say, big shout out to Matt Patton tonight. He had a very good run out there as well, and just missed out on the podium. So next up, we are going to be bringing up the first of the 2 Kiwis after the top 2. It's Daniel Heddershow for Atari. Daniel, welcome back to the booth, and congratulations on 2nd place here at Michigan.
Yeah, thanks. It's a bit of a disappointing 2nd place, but 2nd place nevertheless.
Well, it almost wasn't 2nd place with that sort of final lap moment. We saw the car get very, very squirrely.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened in that last stint. I didn't change anything to the car, but for some reason it was quite snappy the whole way through those final 20 laps, and I was sort of managing it good and sitting in front of Ruben for a bit, just trying to pull away. And then when I had a big snap and he got in front, so I thought I'd just push him, try and keep it between just me and him, which worked very well. And then when I finally went for my move, got under him, and then massive snap and just about ended my race there, but managed to hold it and come home for 2nd, so not all's lost.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's always a good night when you can dust off your hands and go, look, it was 2nd. It wasn't an easier 2nd. And it wasn't indeed, because we saw a bit of a moment between yourself and Maddie Ray as well.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look then. I haven't had a really good look at it then. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I thought I was holding my line, but who knows? I'll wait till I see the replay to make any comments on that, because it was quite an inconvenient yellow because I was flying at that point and I would have hopefully sailed off to the sunset, but what could have been, we don't know. So, yeah, well, guess I'll wait and see.
Absolutely. Look, you had some really good pace out there tonight as well. We saw your long run pace. You were absolutely on fire.
Yeah, the car felt really good. And, the first stint, I wasn't that great on the default tyre pressures, but as soon as I put a slight change in, the car it sort of woke up and started going. I mean, I did have a bit of a tyre advantage on that 2nd stint. I think it was 1 lap, and it was definitely helping, but yeah, what could have been, I guess.
No, look, it's as is motorsport. At least you have got the W next to your name this season, but it was always nice to get a 2nd one in the regular season.
Yeah, it's always nice to try and take your chance to beat the DPR guys when you get a chance, but at least Ruben got it. At least there was another Kiwi that took one off them.
Absolutely. And look, final one, but just with the Tara, we've seen some really good performances from you lately. It looks like you're getting your head around those little tweaks, and you really have got some good pace lately.
Yeah, I would say last week it would be the opposite. I had really good pace until I made a tweak and sort of tuned the car out of it a bit. But yeah, tonight my tweak really works. So hopefully moving forward on a few more tracks like this, it works wonders for me. But well, yeah, I guess we'll see.
Absolutely. And look, fingers crossed, we always like it when somebody can take it to DPR. Look, congratulations tonight, Daniel. Before I let you go, the usual thing, the love, the shout outs to people and sponsors, go for it.
Yes, shout out to Go Growth, Odyssey, Fully Flawed, AJD, Alpha Turbo Japan, and you guys for working on the broadcast every week. I'm sure this week will be a banger to watch. It was a wicked race. Congrats to Ruben for the win. Like, yeah, impressive. I don't know if he was. I'm pretty sure he was only on 2 tyres at the end there, so whatever he did worked very well. And yeah, and everyone else for the race and showing up.
Always a pleasure, Daniel. Welcome back to the booth. It's good to have you up here, and hopefully we're going to see you back here in the very near future.
Yep, fingers crossed. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
And finally, tonight for SRM Mobile Breaker Mechanical Team, it is the Flying Kiwi himself. Finally getting that W next to his name. He can take a deep breath and relax a little bit, at least for a couple of races. It is Ruben Phelps. Ruben, welcome to the booth, mate, and congratulations on victory here at Michigan.
Cheers, fellas. It's about time I get a damn cup win in the ANZCAR.
It's been a while. It's been coming, and you've been knocking on that door for a long time this season as well. You've had some really good pace in the recent races too, and some really good consistency all year long. You were leading the points championship tonight coming into this race, but you don't have to worry about those points things for a little bit of time because you've got that win next to your name.
Well, exactly. So I was like, I think from last week I was basically in, so I was like, all or nothing in this race to and I can basically do whatever I want. So, but can't exactly all credit myself because obviously SRM, all of us guys have been really doing some good work on the setups and stuff like that, and we've figured out something of recent. So I mean, it's not been all completely perfect, but obviously if you saw tonight, we're all pretty much up the front, riding pretty good. So I mean, obviously, I think it's like the last oval for the year now until obviously the start of the chase, because obviously it's 2 road courses and a super speedway. So hopefully, once we get to the normal ovals again, we'll be fast just like tonight.
No, absolutely. Look, it is good to know that you've worked something out there, especially with the team. It was a very strong night indeed because, well, you had 3 of the cars up there, Brenton Henderson in 6th, Maddie Ray in 8th, and of course we saw Lockie having some really good pace tonight, just getting caught out with a little bit of bad luck with that caution coming out when he was coming down pit lane, and then looked like a drive-through as well. But one driver's bad luck is another one's good luck tonight because you didn't make it easy for yourself, starting way down the order, 24th position, making 23 passes throughout the race, and they were all done on the track as well. You really had a good night out there.
Well, I even got a speeding penalty about halfway through, and I went from, I think, like 22nd all the way up to 3rd on before that last caution there, or that little green flag run we had before that late caution. So I did a whole bit of passing there too, and obviously getting that track position for that last pit stop sort of got me there. But unfortunately, Lockie did have a lot of laps led tonight, and he made a little error on the pit entry, got a speeding penalty, and of course that yellow came out, so he got dinged on the green flag pit stop, which obviously means he has to do a drive-through and all that, and then, obviously if there's a caution or anything, it's the only way you're going to get back in there, otherwise he was stuck there. But, one's issue was another one's gain in a sense, but thankfully it was still a team win at the end of it, so, we did good.
Absolutely, and don't sell yourself too short on the road courses because we've seen you guys taking it up the field and having some really good finishes recently as well. So I expect some top 10s from the team, at least in the next couple of road courses as well, Rubes.
Oh, exactly. Now we're starting to get a bit of a handle of these, getting the car rotated and things at the road courses, which is nice because, like, obviously you saw last year that I was sort of not really too confident on the road courses, but now I've just sort of, as you get laps on under you, you get more consistent and better. And, obviously, when you've got a good group of people around you, obviously, it's, it makes you feel a lot calmer and, how it goes.
No, absolutely. It's great to see, Ruben. Congratulations tonight. Now, before I let you go, the usual thing, the love for shout-out sponsors. People in general, go for it, mate.
But I got to shout out SRM Australia first because, obviously being a part of a team that's, striving well above their weight now. But, can't definitely have to think on Matty. He's been a big team leader and helping out with understanding what to do with these setups. We're still learning as we go, but we're getting faster. Of course, Lockie and Brenton. Of course, our sponsors of John Labber is Mobile Brake and Mechanical Repairs, Danny Hurley for Maid of Auckland, Raymond P. Moondog for Moondog, Murphy's Mitre 10, and our charities of Alopecia and Tourette's Australia.
Absolutely. And a shout-out to your mum as well.
Yeah, she's always watching, and I haven't shouted out for probably about, a year and a half, probably. So.
Absolutely. I want to make sure you get that one in there, just so you don't get in too much trouble. Look, congratulations tonight, Rubes. Great to see the Fly Kiwi up taking the victory in the 0-6 tonight. And look, fingers crossed, this is one of many to come. Hopefully, the rest of the season will be full of victories, and you can take it to the rest of the field in the chase.
Oh, exactly. It's going to be quite interesting. Quite an interesting one, but of course you just got to get us every point possible, and of course it's a playoffs too. So every win you get is obviously the next stage, so it's it's definitely very different for the last few years of what obviously ANZCAR's been about. But now it's all or nothing.
Absolutely. Look, good luck for that when it comes up. But as well for the next couple of weeks, Ruben Phelps for SRM Australia. Congratulations on the win tonight.
Cheers, guys.
A great win there from Ruben Phelps and the SRM team. They are going to be stoked about that because they've put in so much work this season, Matt.
They have, yeah, and you've seen them. They are moving up the grid. They are finishing up near the front and running up the front more often now. So yeah, they've obviously been working pretty hard on their program there, and it's starting to pay off dividends. And it's good to see them running up the front regularly. And yeah, they just need a little bit of something to go their way, and this is what you get. So fantastic result for that team, and good result, fantastic result for Ruben as well. Finally break through and grab himself a cup win. He'll be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely. Look, from us here at Performance E-Streaming, we are going to wish you all a good night. Of course, we do have the next race coming up at it is Indy next, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be the Indy Road Course will be the next race. Yep.
Absolutely. So we look forward to seeing you at Indianapolis for some road course action. These cars on a road course, always a different thing to tame, a different beast to drive. So we look forward to seeing you all there for that because, well, we've got a very easy couple of weeks of streaming coming up as it is sort of the off season now for a few series. So it is just the cup for the next few weeks here on Performance E-Streaming. So we get to relax a little bit as well. But from all of us here, from myself, Carl Wilkins, with you, of course, Mr. Matt Hunter, we wish you a good night and we'll see you again next Thursday.